All right, just a hopefully really brief video about chapter 6 and how it's set up in Blackboard. It should look very similar. I'm not very creative. I do the same stuff week after week. But I'm encouraging you to please, please, please do the survey. And it says it's due midnight on. Oh. All right, let's fix this. Tuesday, October 15th. But as far as I know, there's only one S in Tuesday. Okay. And let me minimize this. Okay. Okay. So it's due Tuesday. And one of the reasons why I really need you to answer this is I'm asking you about what size group you want to be in next time. And without that information, it's very hard for me to put you in a group if you don't answer. Obviously, if you are a night owl and you're doing the work at 2 a.m., that's fine because I will not do anything with it until very early on Wednesday morning. Okay. Then, as usual, the mini lectures, you'll find the one that I'm doing right now in here. And then there are the videos that are mentioned in the chapter. It starts out talking about a speech that a woman, she was the valedictorian at college, despite the fact that she was nonverbal, and she typed her speech with one finger. So, anyways, you don't have to watch it, but if you're interested, I've done the work for you and I found it. They also mentioned Toni Morrison's speech that she gave when she got the Nobel Prize. Again, this one's short. This one is pretty long, but worth watching. Then the textbook mentions two other videos. One, Mayim Bialik's Girl versus Women and Why Language Matters. And then vague Facebook posts from congressional hearings. I added this one because there's a spot in the text where they talk about how women say sorry more often than men do. And Pantene had created a commercial. Obviously, well, it's now 7 years old, but I think it's worth watching. Okay, so anyways, these are the, come on, sorry. And then I have the lectures from the 15th edition. So they're long. The second one is hugely long. If you read chapter 6 and you say, I'm kind of confused about the nature of language, there's a relatively short video. If you want more information about the impact of language, there's a longer video, which of course you can pause these anytime and then get back in. And then there's the language of responsibility. All right, so let's go back here. This week, the discussion topic, I moved it out of asking students to come up with something very specific because a lot of people seem to be having a difficulty. They couldn't think of anything. So I'm going to have you look at the extent of gender differences on language use. The textbook says there are some social scientists who say there's a major difference, and there are some social scientists who say there's a minor difference. So the textbook presents both of those and then talks about influences, non-gender influences on language. So in your group, discuss which theory you find the most believable and why. Now, obviously, that's where you're going to look at your own experience, and it can be things that you have experienced yourself, things that you've seen on TV or in movies. Okay, as I say. All right, so, and then when you write it up, I'm noticing that people are forgetting to do some of these parts. What did you share with the group? Who was in your group? What did the group talk about? Okay. And you don't need, let's say there was something you wish you had shared with the group, but you didn't. You don't need to write it. You just need to tell me what you actually shared with the group. And make sure you use ideas from the textbook. Possibly, if you listen to the recorded lectures, you could use that, or you could use some of the supplemental material. If in your discussion you did not refer to the textbook, then in your write-up, it's up to you to go into the textbook and find a good quote. You need to look at how well your group worked. Was anyone silent? If so, do you know why? Did anyone monopolize the conversation? And I realize that people don't know what that word means. And that means, did anyone talk so much that they didn't allow others to speak very much? Okay. And if someone did that, do you know why? Like if everyone was quiet, no one was speaking, and one person just carried the bulk of it. Okay. Then that you could tell me about that. What roles did people take on? And obviously, you're going to interact with this group a grand total of 3 times. But just let me know, if you thought there was an issue with the group. If you let me know, then maybe I can look at ways to make it easier. And then, what did you learn or relearn from this discussion? Okay. And maybe if there's something that you wish you had talked about, that's where you could include that. Okay. Let's see. You do not have to do the discussion as set up in MLA format, although maybe I should make students do that. It's just extra practice, because I'm seeing that some people who are submitting the work as if it were a journal are still having problems with the format. So, okay. Let's see, there's a quiz as always. There's the post-class feedback where you don't have to do anything. I will go in and give you the grade. But for the supplemental material, I've got video, language, article, video. So it's a mixed bag this time. The first one, it's Noam Chomsky talking about language and thought. So Chomsky has been for years the name in the study of linguistics. He's a better speaker than a writer. His writing is, gosh, if you've ever had tripe, which is stomach, it's something where you chew and chew and chew and chew. That's what it's like reading his writing. You just like, what the heck? You feel like you're reading and not understanding it. He also speaks very softly. So I'm not discouraging you from watching this one, but just realize that it's probably not the best video I could have picked. There's a State Farm commercial, which I think was just incredibly well done, where words mean different things. And this actually, I think, has a nice tie forward to chapter 7, because it's the difference really is the nonverbals. There is a relatively short article that talks about the Ubang people, where men and women actually speak different languages. There's a very interesting article, I thought, about self-talk and pronouns. Like, should you use I? Should you use you? Kind of tying into the Dove commercial, Pantene, commercial about apologizing, why women apologize and should stop. And then, oh my gosh, there's missing space. Then there are 2 videos that kind of go together. The TED Talk, Keith Chen was a behavioral economist at Yale. He left there and he became one of the founding people for Uber. So I guess there's more money to be had in that than being a college professor. Interesting. And it's a relatively short, I want to say like 14, 15 minutes. And then there is a shorter version of this. Really fascinating information. So I encourage you to watch either one of them. And then there's just, it's really a silly video about the special piece of equipment that a man can buy that translates women's language into men's language, and then at the end, vice versa. So there's just a lot of information there. If there's anything that you were interested in, you could look at it in more depth. Okay, so that's what the information in the work for this week looks like. And so I hope you take a look at all of it.